Hello, in this video, we will explore the story of Tamamo Cross. Tamamo Cross was born in 1984. His sire was CB Cross, his dam Green Chateau, and his dam sire was Chateau Gay. On paper, his pedigree did not appear spectacular. However, at that time, Green Chateau was considered one of the finest mares at Sakaki Farm. She was bred with CB Cross, and from that pairing was born a grey colt. The horse, who would later become known as Tamamo Cross. At birth, the colt looked thin and rather fragile. He ate less than even the fillies, and expectations were not high. He was eventually sold for only around 4 to 5 million yen, a modest price even at that time. Also, his owner purchased him. He did not feel anything particularly special about the young colt. The name Tamamo Cross came from two sources. Tamamo was taken from Tamamo Castle, another name for Takamatsu Castle in Kagawa, the owner's hometown. And Cross came from his sire CB Cross. Thus, the grey colt was given the name Tamamo Cross. Tamamo Cross was sent to the stable of trainer Obara in Rito. At first, Obara described him as a horse like a filly, light, delicate, and not particularly impressive. Expectations were low. However, one veterinarian noticed something special. He believed the colt possessed an exceptionally strong heart. Tamamo Cross made his debut in March of his 3-year-old season, in what was then considered the start of a racing career. The race was a newcomer event at Hanshin Racecourse, ran over 2,000 meters on turf. He started as the second favorite, but in the final stretch, he faded, finishing 7th. After that, he was switched to dirt racing. In his second dirt start, he finally claimed his first victory. Soon after, he returned to turf in a conditioned race. He ran from behind, waiting for his moment. But then, disaster struck. A horse in front fell. Tamamo Cross was caught in the incident and went down as well, with no rider on his back. The frightened colt ran wildly, circling the track alone. By the time he was stopped, his body was covered in bruises. From that day on, he became fearful. Even the sight of the horse transport truck would make him tremble. He ran 4 more races, including events in Sapporo and Hanshin. But the psychological damage lingered. In the stretch, he would drift outward. He rejected other horses coming close, and he could not show his true ability. Defeats continued. With victories still out of reach, the decision was made to return Tamamo Cross to turf racing. If he failed again, a switch to steeplechase racing was even being considered. His first race back on turf came at Kyoto Racecourse over 2,200 meters. He started as the fifth favorite, but once they entered the home stretch, everything changed. Without the jockey even asking for full effort, Tamamo Cross surged forward alone. The gap widened. 7 lengths clear of the field. He crossed the finish line in front, claiming his second career victory. But it was not just a win. His time, 2 minutes 16.2 seconds, was 0.1 seconds faster than the time recorded in the Kyoto Shimbunhai G2. Run over the same course and distance on the very same day, a hidden talent had revealed itself. In his next race, still in the lower class, he dominated again, winning by a huge margin. After the race, his jockey said, "This horse does not belong in this class." Expectations began to rise, and a run in a major race was considered. However, trainer Obara believed Tamamo Cross would reach his true peak in the autumn of his 4-year-old season. Pushing him too hard now, he feared, could break the horse, so the decision was made to wait. In December, Tamamo Cross stepped up in class to challenge the Grade 2 Naruo Kinen, his first graded stakes race. The favorite was Gold City, a consistent top performer in Grade 1 races among his generation. Second favorite was the senior Kikasho winner Mejiro Duren. Tamamo Cross was the third choice, but at the start, he stumbled. He fell behind, racing from the very back of the field. Even at the final corner, he was only 9th out of 13 horses. In the home stretch, his path was blocked by horses in front. Yet, he found the smallest opening, diving to the inside. 140 meters remaining, he burst through. Then he pulled away, winning by 6 lengths. His name was 2 minutes 33.0 seconds. Despite the slightly heavy track, he broke the course record. With this stunning victory, expectations rose for a run in the Arima Kinen. However, Tamamo Cross had a sensitive side. After races, his appetite would often drop. Combined with a long trip concurred to Nakayama Racecourse, trainer Obara decided to withdraw. Instead, his next target became the New Year's Kinpai. He entered as the overwhelming favorite. In the stretch, his path was once again blocked, but through the narrowest gap, he accelerated sharply. Inside the final 100 meters, he overtook his rivals and won. The margin was only 3/4 of a length. not a large gap, yet the media described his performance as astonishing and beyond imagination. His jockey later recalled, "At the fourth corner, I thought we were finished, but he unleashed an incredible finishing kick." Tamamo Cross would later become famous by the nickname the White Lightning. It is said that this name began to spread around this very time. Next came the Hanshin Daishoten. It was a small field of only 7 horses, but Tamamo Cross was the clear favorite, even overshadowing Mejiro Duren, the reigning Arima-Kinen champion. The race unfolded at an extremely slow pace, and Tamamo Cross struggled to settle throughout. In the final stretch, it became a 3-horse battle. Dinah Carpenter, Marbuts First, and Tamamo Cross. They crossed the finish line almost together. After the photo finish, the result was declared a dead heat for first place with Dinah Carpenter, a rare outcome in a graded race. This marked Tamamo Cross's 5th consecutive victory. With momentum on his side, he advanced to the Tennosho Spring, his first ever Grade 1 challenge, facing strong rivals such as Gold City, Turbo Beaver, and Mary Nice. Tamamo Cross was chosen as the race favorite. In the race, he started near the rear, gradually moving closer to the front. By the final corner, he had climbed to 5th position. In the home stretch, Mejiro Duren and Running Free were battling ahead, but Tamamo Cross found space on the inside. He surged through and took the lead. Then he crossed the finish line in first. 6 consecutive victories. His first Grade 1 triumph. The White Lightning had arrived at the summit of Japanese racing. In June came the Takarazuka Kinen. Tamamo Cross entered the race after being voted number 1 in the fan poll. However, the race favorite was Nippoteo. Public attention focused almost entirely on these 2 horses. The race began. Nippoteo settled near the front, running in second. Tamamo Cross stayed back, waiting from the rear. At the final corner, Nippoteo passed the leader and took command. Tamamo Cross moved wide and began his charge. With 200 meters remaining, he overtook Nippoteo and pulled away. He won by 2.5 lengths. 7 consecutive victories, back-to-back Grade 1 wins. After the Takarazuka Kinen, Tamamo Cross was sent to Hokkaido for the summer. Though the climate was cool, his training never stopped. In fact, he was given only 3 days on complete rest throughout the entire stay. At the end of August, he returned to Tokyo Racecourse, preparing for his next great target, the Tennosho Autumn. no preplace was used. Tamamo Cross was a horse who did not easily gain weight, so the team chose a direct entry into the big race. In his final workout on dirt, he was said to be in the best condition of his life. 13 horses gathered for the Tenno Show Autumn, but one more name captured the spotlight: Oguri Cap. Transferred from local Casamas Racing, he had won 6 races in a row. Tamamo Cross, 7 straight victories, 2 unstoppable forces. Inevitable showdown. Until this time, gray horses were rarely considered elite. They were often seen as fragile and not truly top class. But now, 2 gray horses stood at the center of Japanese racing: Tamamo Cross and Oguri Cap. The race drew attention. In the Tenno Show Autumn, Legend Teiyo set a blazing pace, covering the first 1,000 meters in 59.4 seconds. But what shocked everyone even more was Tamamo Cross. Instead of his usual position at the rear, he ran near the front in second place. Oguri Cap, as always, stayed behind, 5 to 6 lengths behind Tamamo Cross. Approaching the final corner, Tamamo Cross began crossing on the leader. Oguri Cap moved to the outside, launching his charge. With about 200 meters remaining, Oguri Cap had crossed to within 1 length. But then, Tamamo Cross responded. Urged forward, he accelerated again. The gap widened. At the finish, Tamamo Cross won by 1 1/4 lengths. Oguri Cap finished second. 3 consecutive Grade 1 victories, 8 consecutive wins, and for the first time in history, he completed the Tenno Show Spring-Autumn double. Tamamo Cross had reached the summit, the strongest horse in Japan. 1 month later came the Japan Cup. Once again, he would face Oguri Cap. And this time, a new challenger arrived. Tonibin, the Arc de Triomphe winner from Italy. Top international contenders gathered, making this one of the most anticipated Japan Cups ever. Tamamo Cross was the favorite as Japan's champion. Tonibin was second choice, Oguri Cap third. The race began. Tamamo Cross returned to his usual style, running from the rear, but the pace was slow. At the final corner, he swept wide, surging forward. With 300 meters remaining, he briefly took the lead, but from the inside, Peiza Butler surged past. Tamamo Cross finished second, half a length behind. Oguri Cap followed in third. It was announced that Tamamo Cross would retire after the year-end Grand Prix, the Arima Kinen. In early December, he moved to the Miho Training Center to prepare for. However, the water in Miho did not suit him, and his appetite began to decline. Miho's water was often said to have an unpleasant smell. The staff brought in large amounts of mineral water, mixing it with his feed, and gave him tonics to restore his strength and appetite. At the same time, Oguri Cap was also training at Miho. Under the same conditions, Oguri continued to eat strongly, even chewing straw. And Tamamo's groom later admitted he envied Oguri's appetite and physical toughness. Fan voting praised Tamamo Cross first and Oguri Cap second. The betting odds followed the same order. The race began. Tamamo Cross broke slightly slow and ran from the rear. Oguri Cap, now partnered with the veteran jockey Okabe, started well and settled smoothly into position. The pace was slow, a disadvantage for Tamamo Cross. From the third corner into the final turn, he advanced steadily, stride for stride. A dead heat seemed possible, but at the finish, Tamamo Cross fell half a length short. Second place. At the very end, he surrendered the crown of champion, yet his greatness was undeniable. At the JRA Awards, he received 165 of 172 votes and was named Horse of the Year. On January 15, his retirement ceremony was held. Tamamo Cross began a new life as a stallion. His racing record: 18 starts, 9 wins, 3 Grade 1 victories. A syndicate worth 1 billion yen was formed, and he began stud duties the following year, though not an elite sire. He produced several graded winners and left a meaningful legacy. Among them were Canet's Cross and Dance Sirius. In April 2003, Tamamo Cross passed away due to intentional torsion. He was 19 years old. His grave rests in Shizunai, Hokkaido. In 2022, Naran Flake, a descendant of Tamamo Cross, won the Takamatsu no Miya Kinen, marking the first Grade 1 victory from his bloodline. His pedigree may once have been considered modest, but his legacy continues quietly through his descendant, Tamamo Cross, the White Lightning, who charged the fate of gray horses forever. That's all for today. If you would like to learn more about Japanese race horses, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any requests, feel free to leave a comment. See you in the next video.